Book TV recently visited Capitol Hill to ask members of Congress what they're reading this summer.
You know, I intend to read different books. I love reading history about our presidents. In fact, the Library of Congress has a series where every so often they'll bring in the author of a book on one of the presidents. The last one we had last week just happened to be on Andrew Jackson. So they give you a book. So there's a book that's signed by the author, and I love reading those books. We've had different ones from LBJ, of course, now to just recently Andrew Jackson. But one of the books I want to read now is one called The Geography of Genius by Eric Weiner. Now, why is that important? Well, as an example, why is it that you have ancient Athens and the 21st century Silicon Valley that were separated by not only thousands of miles, but also thousands of years apart? So what is it that you had this innovation, creativity in Athens many years ago, and now you look at Silicon Valley also, and you have this innovation, creativity. So it looks into what happens, what sparks, what's the catalyst in certain areas. So it's not only Athens, it's only Silicon Valley, but you have different places across time in different cities and different continents. And that's what's interesting to me.
So do you mainly focus on reading history books, or do you have any other interests when you read?
I love history. I love also self-improvement. But I'm also, I have to say, I'm a sci-fi fan. You know, from reading The Princess of Mars many years ago to, you know, of course, not only reading the books, but also, as you know, The Princess of Mars, I think they turned it into movie John Carter, to, you know, of course, you know, Star Trek and of course, some of the other science fiction. So that's my pleasure readings, but I'm always, I love history. I know that back in high school and back in even in college, you know, some of my classmates didn't like history, but to me it was important because if you look at it, the wheel has been reinvented. You know, a lot of people, it's all a matter of rearranging things. If you look at discoveries and a lot of things, it's all a matter of rearranging things. If you look at history, there's a lot of ideas that you can look now, create a new niche, come up with a new idea, and therefore you spark a new innovation or creativity in whatever the area might be.
And just finally, Congressman, what are some tools that you're using so that you can add reading into your schedule? What are some innovations that you're using? You
know, I love the iPad, and in the iPad there's different apps. So I always look at what's out there. And one of them is called Blinklist, which is an app that will give you summaries of books, and you can either take the option of reading or do it by audio. And then if you're interested in looking at the whole book, then you, of course, you buy the whole, you know, the book itself. But it'll give you a snapshot and at the very end, it'll give you the key message. What's the takeaway from this book? The other one is called Curious also, where you get an email every day, and it has different things from humanities to music to science, whatever the area might be in. So every day it'll give you something in one of those areas. So those are the ways that you got to keep your mind active, and especially like somebody like myself, where I have to go from foreign affairs to appropriations to name the issues, and then when you get on the airplane, fly from Laredo to Houston, from Houston to Washington, you spend a lot of time on the plane. So this is where you use some of those apps to make sure you keep your mind active, but at the same time, you're constantly learning.
Book TV wants to know what you're reading. Send us your summer reading list via Twitter @BookTV or Instagram @book_TV, or post it to our Facebook page, facebook.com/BookTV. Book TV on C-SPAN 2, television for serious readers.